Gender or agenda? Let's discuss. Welcome to the King Moolah TV podcast. Welcome. All right, y'all. Welcome to the King Moolah TV podcast. My name is King. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate every one of y'all for even listening to what I got to say, clicking on my podcast, and getting the insight that I bring to you guys weekly. I think it's very important to have real discussions, not about clickbait topics, not just being fake toxic or just being toxic for money and, just being fake about it. Over here, you get real views, real vibes. Okay, from a real person, not somebody who's state sponsored or who's getting to a check, who's just doing this out of the enjoyment of wanting something to say and thinking that people who actually need to hear, good information along with, personal experience, along with anecdotes, along with, just a good old time, something to think about, food for thought, things like that. All right, so this topic, it's an ongoing topic. It's a social media. It's a trending topic. It's going to be a trending topic forever, to be honest. And what I'm talking about is gender wars. Okay, gender wars. And to be honest, men and women are always going to be different. We're always going to have different functions in society. But a lot of the things that are happening with gender wars is mainly online. A lot of people are using what has happened in their life experience and projecting that onto others who don't feel the same way, or projecting it onto people and generalizing the demographic that they're most angry about or agitated or irritated with, and then making these blanket statements, these absolutism statements that are not true. Not only are they not true, I mean, in the objective sense. In their subjective view, they could be true, okay? But in the objective sense, they're not using their mind to think about others. They're just, bitter people going at each other. That is the foundation of gender wars. It is people who have been hurt and now who have a voice because of social media now want to talk about things that the other gender has done to them. And they have this weird disdain and this illogical hate and this aversion to the other gender. And it ends up becoming race ends up playing a part as well. As a black person, I think it's important. As a black person, you see this with black men and black women. Their gender wars are being fueled. Every community has gender wars, though. However, the most highlighted, especially in the West, is between black men and black women, and some other races try to get involved. Well, for the most part, not really. Usually when it's us fighting amongst each other. But, I'm not going to say that they haven't tried to get involved, because, they watch everything that we do. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So, gender wars. Like I said, first let me start off with this. I already told y'all this plenty of times in my other episodes. Relationships are the foundation to society. It is the building blocks of society, and either way that I say it, it's all the same with what I'm saying. The meaning is all the same with what I'm saying. It's correlated. It's pretty much the exact same with what I'm saying. And because relationships are built, and they can be torn apart as well. And a lot of this gender wars is because people have been torn apart in their own personal lives, and now they're putting it onto others. And there's a lot of pushback with gender wars. People, men amongst ourselves, especially with the fighting and with the fighting online, and the insane amount of slurs that we had for each other. It was really bad because it was mainly on Twitter. Twitter was a breeding cesspool of that stuff. Twitter is pretty much the foundation of all gender wars. I'll say that. Because that's where I seen it the most. That's where I feel like it originates. So I believe, that's just me, I believe that that's where it started, at Twitter. Twitter was already the wild, wild west. But because of, especially back then, people was just saying any kind of thing. But now it's like kind of sensitive, but not, especially not with Muskie and Holding, who owns company now. It's Twitter has devolved into something trash anyways. There's nothing really there anymore. I'm not even on Twitter as much anymore. I'm barely on Twitter, actually. And I've moved away from the gender wars and gender topics now, but it seems like it's gonna come. It definitely went to Instagram, of course. Instagram is definitely another social media. It's all the social media platforms have been infected with gender wars. But Instagram for sure has been a breeding ground, especially on the blog sites. Like, y'all know those blog sites. I don't even want to name them, but y'all know them. They're very popular with trying to be first on their news, and wanting people to discuss or talk just for engagement. And a lot of the times it's because of gender wars, and they're always talking about celebrities, and they're always talking about entertainers. That's just what they do. That's how they make their money, and that's how they make their profit, whatever. So gender wars is just going to be a thing. We can minimize gender wars by not participating in it, but it's just too good, because there's a lot of ignorant people, and when they get a whiff of something, and because of this factors in a lot of things. So I'm just started off with this. It factors in that a lot of people have been left behind in education. Okay, a lot of people do not have critical thinking skills. And that's pretty much what it is. A lot of people do not have critical thinking skills. And they cannot really discern. They don't have good enough discernment to know what is fact from fiction, what is just opinionated nonsense or bias or stereotypes, versus the actual objective truth, versus, even with statistics. A lot of people are weaponizing statistics and don't even understand how to read statistics, or, how to tell what statistic is bad or what statistic is good, what statistic is outdated, what is up to date, and what statistics are used in full context. There's a lot of factors that go into this to what make pretty much any topic that I really would be talking about involving relationships. All of that plays a factor in how society was made this way. It's by design. It's by design that we are bickering amongst each other, talking about the most nonsensical of things, be it based on our past experience of being hurt, and not actually healing from that. That's a big one. Healing. A lot of people have not done that. A lot of women, especially women, they said they've gone to therapy, but they have not truly healed. Therapy is supposed to help you get on that jump. It's supposed to start you into that. You're pretty much talking to yourself and paying somebody to do it, but that's just the essential. That's just the basics of it. You definitely can get a lot of insight from the therapist or whoever that you're seeing that you consider your mental coach or, role model, inspiration. Yeah, stuff like that. But pretty much, you got to be serious about healing. You got to be serious about wanting to really want better for yourself. And that goes with not always engaging and picking and choosing your battles, and not always thinking that every time somebody generalizes your gender that they're obviously talking about you, or you have to step in to defend. You really don't. Sometimes you got to understand when clown activity, let's just put it like this, when clown activities are happening, you don't have to pay to go to the circus. You can stay home. You don't have to do that. You can scroll, because a lot of these posts or people accounts, a lot of them are nowadays engagement farming. And what engagement farming is baiting people with hot topics or topics that they know will get engagement, and that's usually, and relationships between men and women are usually the number one goal. Either that or rage baiting. And rage baiting is, you know what? Let's define this stuff, okay? Let's define that. Let's go to Urban Dictionary. I don't know if Merriam-Webster has rage baiting. Let's see. Hold on. AI. I don't need an AI. Let me just see if they got it through. Okay. Rage baiting. Okay, like rage baiting. BBC.com. Okay, I'm guessing. Yeah, this is pretty much the format for Wikipedia. So Wiktionary. I'll just do Wiktionary right now, and then I'll go back to the BBC definition. So etymology, rage plus bait, manipulation to elicit a particular response. That's the etymology that's on the Wiktionary page. Now, as a noun, it says internet derogatory content that provokes anger or fear in order to increase viewership or interaction. That's pretty much it. That's the cut dry 100%. That is the definition for rage bait. Okay, pretty much that is the definition for rage bait. Now let me go to BBC, and I guess I'll do the AI just to see, because it's the first thing that pops up now when you if you use Google. If you don't use Google, don't worry about it. You can use Ecosia or DuckDuckGo or wherever Firefox, wherever you go to get other browsers other search engines. Rage bait content where the goal is simple: record videos, produce memes, and write posts that makes other users viscerally angry, then bask in thousands or even millions of shares and likes. It differs from its internet cousin clickbait, where a headline is used to tempt a reader to click through to view a video or article. Okay, clickbaiting, rage baiting, and engagement farming. They all pretty much in the same group of, well, I'd say clickbait is the umbrella term because it was here first. Rage baiting is more likely what people are doing nowadays, and engagement farming is pretty much the method. You know what? Let me start again. Clickbaiting, like I said, it was here before they defined engagement farming. But if I'm really being honest now that I think about it, engagement farming is the umbrella term, and clickbait is under it, and rage bait would be under clickbait. So it's like a subsection. So engagement farming, umbrella term, and you got clickbait that goes under it, and then rage bait goes under that as another subsection. Because engagement farming doesn't have to be rage bait or clickbait. You could just do something simple like, bake some cookies. That's not engagement farming if you're doing it genuinely. If you're like a baker and you like to bake cookies, you're not engagement farming for doing something that you're passionate about or loving. Engagement farming is doing something mainly because you want clicks and likes, because whatever you were doing before hasn't been working. So you're doing something usually off of a trending topic just to make yourself go viral. That's pretty much what engagement farming is. So, yeah. So what I said about the baking cookies and stuff, that's not engagement farming. All of this stuff falls into a negative part of the internet. So that's the negative part. The doing the things genuinely and authentically, that's what comes with it. But rage baiting, but a lot of these things are like interwoven with each other. They're not interchangeable, they're just interwoven with each other. Like, you can generally want to just bake cookies and, then certain comments and stuff like that, getting hate for no reason. All that can come from, what was I making a point here? I was making a point, but then I realized maybe it's not the point that I thought it was. Either way, like I said, engagement farming, the negative aspect of the internet, that's what I can stick with at least. Okay, well, now AI's version is a manipulative internet tactic where content creators deliberately create content designed to elicit anger or outrage from viewers, with the primary goal of increasing engagement, such as views, shares, comments, and likes. It's a form of trolling that leverages the natural human tendency to react strongly to negative emotion to generate online traffic and social media popularity. There it is, trolling. But there's differences in trolling. There's some trolling that is good and fun, and then there's other trolling where it's just negative. Now, inherently, you can say trolling is negative. You can say that because I think that's where its origin started. However, there's been lighthearted fun. I guess for lack of a better word, there's a good use to trolling. Yeah, there's a good use to trolling. If I don't come up with the word this episode, I'll just look into it or look something up, or even make up, or even create my own word that would pretty much be the opposite of trolling. But yeah, that is pretty much what rage baiting is, and how this all ties into gender wars. So many posts. I mean, you can look at it through threads now. I was just, let's go to what I was going to go. Like on this thread, I seen where is it at? Sorry. See, I got to keep looking for it because I don't have it ready. But I seen a picture. Well, not a picture, I'm sorry, a post on Threads that had to do with pretty much gender wars. I have to scroll a little bit because I did like a lot of things, but it's not far. I liked it today, so I will find it. I think it's this one. So 64% of black men ages 15 to 49 don't have a child, but black men are the face of a deadbeat. Since apparently I can't find the one that I was looking for, even though I literally felt like I just seen it today. Literally. I'm gonna go with this one. Men who don't play video games with the right arrows or the greater than signs, as you can call it 4 times. Get her out of here. Nobody cares. That is engagement farming to the fullest. That is rage baiting to the fullest. And good thing she got dragged, because there's a woman who I liked her post, and she said what she said. Oh yeah, she commented. She quoted it. Oh no, this is a woman commenting. She said, "Women who have more than their body to offer." Ooh, insane. See, this is what I'm talking about. The pushback of the gender wars. That's that pushback that I'm talking about that we need more of. Now, here we go. Here's another one. Here's the girl. Okay. The one who said men don't play video games, she got quoted, and she flipped it on her. She said men who do play video games, she put extra arrows on there, extra greater than signs. Greater than signs. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the pushback that's needed. That's the positivity that we do to flip the clickbaiting, the engagement farming, the rage baiting, all of that. That is exactly what we need. Okay, that was one of the things. The other one was going probably, I just read it. I don't know why I don't see it, but pretty much that's just what it was. Give me one more second. Okay, it seems I can't find it apparently now. But anyways, yeah. So gender wars, the pushback is real. There are people out there, especially on Threads, at least there, you find the pushback. And some of it can be engagement farming, but at least it's good engagement, At least it's showing some type of positivity. Now, there still is the negative parts where you can see that I went across, not see, but I think you heard me go across it, but if not, it's all right. But there is some good pushback towards that, and that's the type of content I like to see and the type of content that I like to engage in. All right, so gender wars, I want it to be done. I want it to be gone. I just feel like for my closing thoughts on gender wars is we need to have some time away from gender wars. A lot of this stuff is happening online, and people, like I said earlier in the beginning, that people aren't taking the time to get to know themselves or getting to heal from their past traumas or from their relationships and all the abuse or whatever that they've got going on, or just not the good vibes that they hope that it would be, or just whatever that they learned in their relationships. They didn't actually bring any baggage there. They actually have worked on themselves before they engage in another relationship. So people need to do that before engaging in that. And since they're not doing that, a lot of them aren't doing that, because that's why gender wars is a thing. So, gender wars, at least, you don't have to engage with it, but I'm cool because I know where I stand when it comes to gender wars. Like, I love women. I love black women especially. Like, there's no comparison. I like to hear what they got to say. They're intelligent. They're beautiful. They're very organized, and they're very punctual. They're very, honest, and I want to see them be a lot more expressive and creative. I love them especially in creative spaces. Seeing black women thrive in those type of spaces, being like black women who are gamers, black girl gaming, and anime watchers, and I love women. Okay, so there's no gender war with me. I do the pushback too. But it's rarely you would get a response out of me because of that, because I stopped doing that a long time ago, for real, unless I really wanted to do it just because, or because I really felt like it needed to be said. But I don't usually reply. I'm just watching the engagement back and forth between each other, and just, I'm more so an observer. I've always been an observer, but now I'm really just going back to that root of just observing and not really commenting. Not because, back then I wanted to comment, but, I was holding myself back from doing that. But now I can comment whenever I feel like it. Now it's just, I don't feel like doing that because I don't have to. I pick and choose my battles. Now, but I will watch and see if, if there is any pushback or if there is any progression towards gender wars. So, yeah, I think I pretty much, we need to just stop gender wars for like a while. Just for a while. A month or 2 or 3. A month without gender wars. We could try a week first. We could try, let's try a day, and then let's build it to a week. Come on, a week without gender wars, let's do that. And then let's get it to a month, and then 3 months, and then 6 months, and then a year. You know, let's actually work on ourselves and you know, start doing more positive things instead of tearing each other down all the time. And that can go for anybody, any race, any ethnicity, any nationality. Just we need each other. That's all that I need to say. We need each other. Gender wars are stupid, but I see where the engagement is. There will be heated discussions, and you know, everybody got different viewpoints and opinions and stuff like that, which is all cool and fine, dandy. But don't be out here making absolute truth. I mean, absolute nonsense, just making noise, not really saying anything, not really progressing or evolving a conversation or making the conversation a quality conversation, a quality discussion. You know, you're just there to talk out your behind or trolling or whatever the case may be, rage baiting, clickbaiting, all of that. Yeah, just stop all that. But yeah, like I said, we need each other, and you know, we ain't gonna have each other. We can't have one without the other. That's what I meant. We can't have one without the other. All right. So drink your water. Okay. Hydration is very important. I'm going to drink some water after this because I am parched. I've been talking for a while. So yeah. Hurricane season is among us. It is June 2nd. Happy Caribbean History Month. Yeah. Hurricane season is among us too. Starts June 1st. So if you're in Florida or the southern area, buckle up, because already, man, there's some stuff that happened today I won't reveal, but it's, man, just wow. Okay, and happy Pride Month to y'all out there. Shout out to y'all. Okay, you live your life, live it happily, have no regrets. And be kind to people, like I said. People, different lifestyle, different faith, different religion, whatever the case may be. Just, you know, be kind to them. You don't know what's going through. There's a lot of things that people are going through because of society, government, whatever the case may be, economy, environment, all of that. Life is a bit rough for a lot of people right now. So the best thing you can do is be kind, and it doesn't take any money at all. You can make their day better. You can make your day better. Just practice it. Kindness. Practice kindness. Okay. It is really not a hard thing to do. All right. And I'm saying this to myself as well, because I really know, because I know I'm practicing it as well. So I'm not just saying it, I'm practicing it as well. So like I said, live your life, leave people alone, respect their boundaries, respect their lifestyles. You know, as long as they're not harming nobody, you know, respect across the board. All right. Be kind. I'm King. It's King Moolah TV Podcast, y'all. I'm out of here. Oh, it looks like it's about to rain again. Maybe. I don't know. But it is rainy season over. Hello, hurricane season. Bye.